To manually unlock the storage cover, we use the Soft Top tool, part number 12958100066, or simply an open 6mm wrench. This tool is really good. It's an open 10mm, fairly thin, that would slide down here between the roll bar and the tonneau cover if the roll bar was not up. So halfway the length of the roll bar, you find this pivot point down here that you simply put the 10mm wrench on, slide your wrench, move your wrench backward, and you can open the tonneau cover. Now if this was a model year 96 or younger, then we would have to repeat the same thing on the other side. This is model year 97 and it has only one tonneau cover lock. So here we go. We open up the tonneau cover manually. Next we move the roof up manually, and that gives us access to the tonneau cover lock on this side, which is extremely easy to take out. So just for completeness, let me show you on the driver's side. There's a catch here that latches or catches part of the tonneau cover. If it was an earlier model here, we would simply have a tonneau cover lock in its place. With the soft top all the way up and the rear bow open and the tonneau cover open, we can actually see 9 or 10 of the car's cylinders. We're looking here at the main lift cylinder that raises and lowers the soft top altogether, and we're looking at the fabric bow extension cylinder or bow extension cylinder here that raises and lowers the rear bow. We're looking at the tonneau cover lock here, and behind us would be the rear lock and the tonneau cover lift cylinder. So here's the rear lock. Note that it is accidentally in the wrong position in this model year. If you have the rear lock down like this without the top in it, the soft top controller will say this is illogical and the top will not move. And again, here's the tonneau cover lift cylinder. Now take a look at the top of the cylinders where the chrome shaft comes out of the housing. If you look very closely, you'll see a little bit of moisture on there, and that means this cylinder is leaking. It's not a catastrophic leak yet, but it will soon be one. Same if you look at the main lift cylinder, you'll see that there is a good amount of fluid pooling on it, so that one is actually very close to a catastrophic failure. It's already leaking enough to drip on the floor. So here's the tonneau cover lock. It's extremely easy to take out. A little trick beforehand, we want to actually manually close this cover almost all the way. In order to close it, you cannot just put the wrench on there and turn it. You actually have to act as if part of the tonneau cover was coming in, the striker from the tonneau cover, and then you can turn it. Now this latch would be fully closed now. You'll see later why we're doing this. We're opening it again a tiny bit. Now to remove the lock, really easy. We have 1, 2, 3 10mm hex nuts to remove. We've loosened them already. And before we take the last one off, we actually want to take the hydraulic hose clips off, again by levering a small flat screwdriver in between the clip and the cylinder itself, and that way levering that clip out of the way. This one is a little sticky, and that's okay, it's been moved out far enough already. Now once the latch is loose, we can pull the hydraulics lines out all the way. Let's get the hex nuts removed. One more thing yet, there's an electrical connector here that has the good old friction fit. All we have to do is put a small flat head screwdriver in between to loosen it up, pull off the connector, and we've removed the lower hex nut already. Now we just need to wiggle the whole thing to get the hydraulic hoses out of the way. Let's see if that lower pin has been removed far enough. No, it hasn't. I need to slide it up a tad more. There we go. And we wiggle a little bit to pull this hose out. Here's the tonneau cover lock. I'll put some paper towel under it so I don't make a mess here, and I'm going to show you how to take this cylinder out of the lock. The trick why I already closed the lock, meaning retracted the cylinder shaft, is if the cylinder was all the way extended and we tried to take it out of the lock now, the chrome shaft would be hitting sharp edges on the lock here and potentially damage the cylinder shafts. We don't want that. To get the lower mounting pin out, really easy. Just put your small flathead screwdriver into the circlip and lever it out. There's no need to let that circlip fly. You can just have a very controlled motion to take it off. Take out the lower mounting pin, and here is your cylinder loose inside the lock, and the fluid just went squirting. So the smart thing to do is at this point cycle the cylinder a couple times into a paper towel, and you're not going to have any more fluid squirting at you. So let's extend this, and with a 5mm open wrench you can actually unscrew this shaft from the latch itself. If you positively cannot get your hands on an open 5mm wrench, you could use some very narrow vice grips, and just be sure to be putting them all the way at the end of the shaft so that marks from the tool will never go beyond an area or go into an area that actually slides through the seal on the cylinder. Otherwise you have just ruined your cylinder. So here we go. We got this cylinder out, put in our replacement. I'll just act as if this was the replacement. Put it back in. Fasten. Pull the wrench out. This one is a little tight in here. There we go. Fasten it again. Pull the wrench out, and the hydraulic line ports stick out away from the latch. So here we go. We put it back in, push our pin back in, oops, and don't let it fall out on us. So we hold it in place, put our circlip on, and with a little controlled motion push it back on. There's that. We push the hydraulic lines into the ports. Make sure that the lines are in all the way, meaning the bumps on the lines have disappeared into the cylinder itself. Then we put the clips back on. Remember, the barbed side goes into the cylinder rail. Click. And where's the other one? Right here. Do the same thing. It doesn't matter from which direction you push the clip in from, whether it's from the bottom or from the top. It's easier to put them both in from the top. And I'll block the view here because it's easier for me to do it this way. If I was really smart, then I would have put that lower pin on first before I put the lock on. Now it's on again. Electrical connection. Click. 3 more bolts. and I can spare you watching me fastening 3 hex nuts, and then in the end don't forget to fully open the latch again by using the soft top tool. Otherwise the soft top controller will think the situation is illogical with this lock being down while the storage cover is open. And there we go, we have swapped a cylinder on a tonneau latch.